Hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to talk about comic books. I want to talk about how I was introduced to them, who my favorite superhero was, and go over some issues with some iconic, well, maybe not iconic, but memorable covers for me. Stuff that when I, thinking back of the comic books when I was a kid, what are the covers that really stand out, the ones that really mean a lot to me. I just want to show some of those issues and maybe show a little bit of the inside of the books, not many. It's mainly about the covers that, the covers are there to hook you. They're there to hook the reader in and be like, oh man, this looks awesome, I'm going to buy this. And so that's what really sticks in my mind, not necessarily the interior panels. So I want to go over that too. So my earliest recollection of issues that I had issues 1 through 3 of He-Man and Masters of the Universe, and that came out in 1986. I don't have those issues anymore. I probably purged them at some point when I was a kid. I'm like, yeah, I don't care about He-Man anymore. But those are the oldest issues I remember having, and I primarily got all my comic books from the grocery store. You'd go for the checkout line, they'd have the spinner rack there, and you'd flip through them, and if an issue looked appealing, hey, Mom, can I get this? So I had like sporadic issues of, I had those 3 He-Man issues. I had like a couple issues of G.I. Joe. My aunt on my dad's side got me a subscription to Amazing Spider-Man, which was really my first kind of taste, at experiencing comic books and maybe stories that overlapped into other issues. But I was so young, I didn't read the books. I just looked at the pictures. We'll go over a couple of those issues because a very important character is introduced and I totally didn't understand what was going on. So we'll go over that later. But the thing that really, I guess, lit the fire for me being interested in comic books was trading cards, Marvel trading cards. So I've got a number of these Marvel trading cards here, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time going through them, but this is really where my interest started. I was a little older. This first series here, these are actually all my cards. These are not bought off eBay. These are mine from when I was a kid. This is series number 1. This came out in 1990. So I was like 10 or 11 when I started getting these, probably 11. But here's series number 1, and it just features, all of our heroes, and mainly in static poses. I mean, look at like Nick Fury here. Nick Fury's awesome, but he's like literally just posing next to his shield car. And as a kid, that doesn't really do it for me. Like, I need action. Like, I need Hulk here, like ripping the turret off of a tank, because my attention span is, less than a second. So as I'm collecting these cards and being introduced to all of these heroes and villains, there's one card that I get that I am just blown away. I'm like, look at this guy. Look at the action in this card. This guy's awesome. This is my superhero. You guys are probably going to find this funny because at the time, I didn't know how popular this superhero was. Like, I just picked him because of this card. And that hero is Wolverine. I got this card and I just, like, mind blown. I'm like, look at this guy. He just jumped through a window. He's got these metal claws that are extended that are coming out of his hand. Like, this guy's awesome. I would not want to mess with this guy. And that's what did it. Like, I'm like, I want to start, reading comic books. A lot of these characters are cool, but Wolverine is my guy. Like, this is my superhero who I'm really interested in. And the back of the cards had, they had stats and like a little bio. There's like a wins, loss, and ties record for fights. They just made all those numbers up. Like, as a kid, I can remember reading those and being like, oh, who's got the best record? And it's all made up. They produced a number of series. These are, I don't know who published these. But that was series 1. You had different cards in here. Like, you had your heroes. Let's look at some villains here. They also featured heroes with different costumes. Like, Wolverine actually had 3 cards. So here's his patch persona. Like Spider-Man had a card for his classic red and blue suit. His black suit. Actually, I think he's got his flying his cosmic Spider-Man suit that he can fly. Even Aunt May got a card. But a lot of these heroes and villains I had never heard of before. So it did work pretty well. So here's a number of villains. This is a pretty good page. You get Sabretooth, Juggernaut, Doc Ock, Doctor Doom, Electro, Magneto, Ultron. One other supervillain that really interested me as a kid, I don't know why, was the Red Skull. I don't know why. I mean, there's even part of a Nazi flag in that imagery. And I remember getting that card and thinking, wow, that guy's cool. And also, Bullseye. Bullseye really interested me as a character. His card is, I don't know, it's not overly interesting, but I can remember taking this card to school. Like I had it in a plastic penny sleeve and stuck it in my back pocket. And I don't know, maybe it was his name. I'm not really sure. So that was Series 1. Here is Series 2. So each year new cards would come out and they'd, you know, change up the style of the cards. And I'm pretty sure in these early series, I think they kept, like there's a whole section for superheroes and a whole section for supervillains. Here's some supervillains. More good ones. Sabretooth again, Kingpin, Galactus, Venom, Mandarin. And then there's other cards, I don't know. Like they have cards like Famous Battles, where they'll show, yeah. So these were also in the Series 1 cards, where they had these famous battle cards. So it's kind of cool, because you got introduced to the heroes, you got introduced to some villains, you got introduced to some of their battles. So it was really nice for people. Oh, okay, and then in this series too, they had like items, like they'd have these cards that went into like, you know, like Cap's shield, Thor's hammer, Daredevil's billy club, you know, and Punisher's arsenal, which is funny because it's just a whole bunch of guns. So some of the iconic like weaponry or items in the Marvel Universe. There's the Infinity Gauntlet that much more of the world knows about now, thanks to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This one also features Rookies cards. I don't remember if this was in the... Yeah, this was in Series 1. So you had Rookies cards. I don't know how many people know this, but there was a new Fantastic Four team that had Grey Hulk, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine. Some of these Rookies cards. This is kind of interesting because there's X-Force down there, and I'm pretty sure in Series 1, I think the New Mutants are listed as a hero team, and X-Force is spun out of the New Mutants. Let's take a look quick. Yep. Oh, I guess it's not Rookies, it's just team pictures. But there's the New Mutants. So there's Series 1 and 2. Here's Series 3. Another different look to the cards. And then the back of these did change. I think with Series 2, they redid the back of the cards. Yeah, so they redid the back of the cards to kind of like they got the bios as normal, but then they rate them in different categories. Like, I can't read that, but I'm assuming it's like strength and intelligence and power, you know, all the different categories that you would want to rate your superheroes and supervillains. So those all look a little different. Oh, and then all of these sets came with like holograph cards, or they were like lenticular cards, you know, that you could turn them, or there was foil cards, and there's always some limited edition cards that, you know, you got to keep buying packs so you can get these, you know, really rare cards, which I don't have many of those. I don't even know. They're probably in here somewhere. This card is from the first series. I did actually get this in a pack. I don't think this is considered, maybe that is considered lenticular. I don't know how well that'll show up. Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. These other cards are just a random smattering of heroes and villains that I just stuck all on this page. I guess the lenticular ones are probably these because it gives you more of an impression of depth. Looks kind of 3D. And this next series is where they introduced the cards. When they're all on one page, the backgrounds are all shared amongst the cards. I'll try to find a good... So here's like a Spider-Man themed page. So you've got all these Spider-Man villains, and then as you can see, the backgrounds all go together, so when you put all the cards on a page, it forms like one big piece of artwork. So that's pretty cool. It also mixes the villains and the heroes up, because up to this point, they all had their different sections. And then I've got Marvel Masterpiece cards in here. These were kind of more high-end cards. The artwork was better. I think these were more expensive too when you bought them. For some reason, I'm thinking they were really expensive. This is from 1992. This is the only set that I collected of these. I can't even tell you how many different series they had. But yeah, everybody kind of went nuts creating trading cards. But it fueled interest. You know, it worked. If their goal was to fuel interest in comic books, to sell comic books, like, it worked, because it worked on me. So that's what really lit the fire into me being interested in comic books, but it still took a while. I've got a bunch of books all sitting out here, and I'm going to show them to you. And, well, let's just get started. So this first issue that I'm going to show, this is an issue that Chris had. It's G.I. Joe, and it is the story of Snake Eyes. So you see this really cool cover, like it's got a file folder on there, and you've got a picture of Snake Eyes without his mask on. You know, we all wanted to know, what does Cobra Commander and Destro and Snake Eyes, what do they look like? And this gave you a peek. And there is one interior panel in here that I want to show because it's just, you know, stuck with me. Stalker is retelling the story of himself, Snake Eyes, and Storm Shadow, or Tommy is his first name. They're on a long-range patrol, recon in the Vietnam War. And this one panel just always stuck with me. This is like the first panel of the story, so maybe that's why. But there's the three of them, you know, wading through that water. And that panel just, I don't know, just stuck with me to see the three of them all together. Maybe this was one of the first, like, origin story. There are some origin story issues that are on the floor here, but I don't know, maybe this was the first. I don't know. That just really stuck with me. So these next issues, these are part of the Spider-Man run that my aunt got me. And those of you in the know will know the importance of issue 299. So here's the cover. The cover is, you know, not all that great, but there is an interior panel that is extremely important. The very back, we are first introduced to Venom. And I did not get this. Like, I didn't read these issues. I looked at the pictures, and right around, well, this is probably from 87 or 88. I would reread these issues, and I eventually developed allergies as a kid. So, like, I would reread these things, and I'm like, what is wrong with Peter Parker? Like, is he having an allergic reaction? Like, why does he look like that? I don't understand. Which is, I don't know, seems dumb now, but I was probably too young to be reading this stuff, and I just did not get it. So there's our first introduction to Venom, like his first cameo appearance. His first full appearance is in the very next issue, issue number 300, with a very iconic cover because it says 300 a whole bunch of times on it. Yeah, and then the issue after this, 301, it's got like all this where it says 300 is in white, and then Spidey goes back to his classic red and blue suit. So it has this, he's like in the same pose, but he's got his other red and blue suit on. So this next issue really blew me away. So this would have been, I think, 89 when this came out. I know I was in 4th grade when I saw this issue. One of my classmates brought it to school, and I had never seen anything like this before in my life. Like, if you were to ask me, Jason, think back to a cover of a comic book from when you were a kid, this is the first one that comes to mind because it really blew my mind away. And that is Batman number 428, Death in the Family storyline, where we have Robin, Jason Todd, on the cover, and he has been murdered by Joker. I had never seen anything like this. Like, my heroes, there was no blood, We're talking G.I. Joe, Transformers, Masters of the Universe. I was probably 10 years old when I saw this, and I mean, that just blew my mind. I had never seen anything like that. Like, I can remember the entire setting when my classmate showed me that. I can remember the classroom where he showed me at in the classroom, everything. I just never seen anything like this, and it just really, it stuck with me. And when I got a job, I started collecting old back issues, this was one that I had to have because it just really impacted me. That image just has been burned into my mind. It was really shocking. So, I've got 2 issues of Ninja Turtles here. These are the Ninja Turtle Adventure comics that were published by Archie. These are more themed towards kids. They're very lighthearted. The original series of TMNT was very dark, very gritty. The very first issue is what the first live-action movie is based on. So, I mean, you look, that movie is awesome. Like, it is very dark. It is very gritty, but dang is it good. And Shredder gets killed in it. Like, they didn't think the series was going to last, so they introduce the Turtles, they kill off his main villain, and then people are like, this is fantastic, you need to do more of these. So, the first movie is based off that first issue, but very different. Like I said, these are very lighthearted. The artwork, this artwork's actually pretty good, I guess I would say. It's more edgier. The later issues, I don't know how to describe it. Like, the artwork got more cartoony. I actually have issues over here. Like here. It's very much more like, I don't know, kid-friendly, less edgy. I think the series kind of stuck with that. This is not a series that I read for very long. Like, it was very sporadic. The majority of these issues that you're seeing aren't my original issues. I got some off of eBay just so I could get the issues 1 and 2 because at some point I had gotten rid of those. I probably purged and felt I didn't need them, and then I was like, oh man, I want those because those covers are 2 covers that really stick in my mind. And I didn't realize, like, the Turtles were superheroes at the time. Like, to me, a superhero was Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, a human being that had a normal name that, then put on this costume and fought crime. So, these mutated turtles, to me, this was just a toy line that got a comic book, not a superhero based comic book that then got a toy line and a cartoon and video games and everything else. I didn't know about that original early series. So I didn't think of them as superheroes, but they are. So that'll come into play when we talk about the game that we're going to play. Okay, these next issues, these are issues I read over at Chris's house. So like I said, I was collecting those cards, and I didn't really start in earnest reading comic books till like January of '92, and you'll see the issues that started that. But I was reading a lot of issues that Chris had. I'd go over to Chris's house like every other weekend, and I would, whatever he had, a video game, comic book, magazine, whatever it was, I would just try to read all that stuff while I was there. So he had this issue. This is Marvel Comics Presents, this is the Weapon X storyline. So this is how we find out how Wolverine got the adamantium into his body. I mean, and as you can see, like looking at that cover, I was probably 11 years old when maybe 12. I don't remember when I would have first saw this issue, but I mean, just look at that cover. That image is going to stick with you. So this is the first appearance of the Weapon X program. And then this next issue is issue number 79. This is the first time that we see Wolverine as Weapon X. So he is not Logan. He is a part of a lab experiment. They put the adamantium into his body. They basically, they brainwash him. They try to turn him into a weapon. And he's got this iconic helmet. He's got these computers that hang off of his waist. He is made to be a killing machine that they can control. And it doesn't work. He breaks free of their control, breaks out of the facility, and it's covered in all of these issues, 72 to 84 of Marvel Comics Presents. This is, I think it was written and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. Great story. So I kind of got lucky in that I saw that Wolverine card, and I'm like, that guy looks awesome. I want to read his stuff. Then we get this Weapon X stuff that comes out, and I'm like, oh, cool. I get to learn, how he got, these adamantium claws and whatever. And I think it just really helped to fuel my interest or my love for the character, because I love Wolverine. I love the character. So these next few issues of Wolverine, this is when I started reading in earnest. And Chris came over and did an overnight, and he brought over issue number 50 of Wolverine. So it looks like a file cover. It says, top secret on it. And this is a part of a 3-part story. So Chris brought this over, and I'm like, man, that is cool. I want to read that. Like, I need to start reading this stuff. So I went to the comic book store, because at this point I discovered that we had a comic book store called the Comic Book Shop. And that's where I started buying all my issues instead of at the grocery store. So I bought issue number 50, and then I bought issues 48 and 49. That were the other parts to the story. So very iconic cover of issue 48. This is Wolverine as Weapon X. He doesn't have his helmet on. You can see the computer kind of there in between his legs hanging down. This is a sequel to Weapon X. This next cover, not as memorable to me, but this is issue 49. I just kind of pulled it because this was the start, of me reading and collecting comic books in earnest. And so issue number 50 here. So comic book covers kind of got gimmicky. Well, not kind of. They did get gimmicky in the 80s, in the 90s. And with this issue, you got these claw marks that go right through the cover. And then the inside of it looks like the inside of a file. And I didn't know a whole lot about Wolverine, but all these pictures they drew my interest in, like, what is all this stuff? I need to learn about this stuff. So this is when it really started, and I'll show you the issues where it stopped. They did some things with the character that I did not like. Well, here we got an issue of Batman. Batman number 500. This is part of the Nightfall storyline where Bane breaks Batman's back. Bruce has to retire as Batman, and a new Batman is introduced with a whole new costume, radically different from Bruce's costume. So you just fold this over, and here's Jean-Paul Valley as the new Batman. He is a very different Batman. He's much more violent. The dude's a little crazy, and there's like a whole story to this. Like, this is Nightfall, and there's like, I think it's Night Quest and Night's Quest and Night's End. So basically, Bruce's back is broken. Jean-Paul Valley takes over as Batman. He does things very differently. Bruce does not approve. Bruce gets healthier, and then he comes back to take back the mantle of Batman from Jean. It's really, really fantastic story. It's huge, though. It takes up, like, the whole thing takes up probably one small box. Like, there's long boxes and small boxes to store your comic books in. I'm pretty sure those three take up a good chunk of a small box, because DC and Marvel would make these crossovers. I think Marvel might have been more guilty of this than DC, but they'd tie in all these issues, because that way they could sell more comic books, you know. Let's stretch the story out over 10 or 12 issues, and let's publish it in Batman and Detective Comics and all these other, you know, Batman things. And they would do it for well, the next comic book I'm going to show you is part of the Fatal Attractions miniseries crossover. So you've got X-Men and you've got Wolverine, and I think it even went into Excalibur. Like, they put the story into all these different X titles, so that way you'd buy all the comic books to read the story. This is Wolverine number 75. This is the issue after Wolverine gets his adamantium pulled out. I mean, very interesting cover. It goes on both sides. It's a wraparound cover. And then it's got that lenticular card that's attached to it. So this is the issue after, but there is a picture in here of the adamantium getting pulled out of him. Like, Magneto kind of loses it. Wolverine just about, like, guts him, and Magneto just isn't having any of it, and he rips the adamantium right out through his pores. He almost kills him. The stories after this, Wolverine doesn't have a healing factor. Like, his healing factor has gone into overdrive. It, like, burns out, and he's like a normal person. So this last issue I'm going to show you, this is when I didn't quite quit reading Wolverine at this point, but when this issue came out, I was really upset. I did not like the direction they were going with Wolverine. So here's Wolverine, and his claws are bone. We discover that he had bone claws with metal over them, and his claws are broken. For me, Wolverine was all about his claws. It was the feral, I'm not going to take any crap from anybody attitude, and I got these awesome metal claws that come out of my hands. And when that went away, Wolverine was like a normal person. He had basically no healing factor for a while, and it was coming back. And then he ended up degenerating into a more feral state where, when you look at the artwork, it's like he lost his nose. Like, he had a mask that he wore, kind of like Zorro almost, you know. And the way it was drawn, it was like he had no nose. And I hated it. Like, I can remember being actually angry when that issue came out. And I'm like, this is not my Wolverine. And I quit reading. I just lost interest in the character. I mean, I was in middle school at the time, going into high school, so I was emotionally unstable. I can remember being very upset that they did that to Wolverine. They ruined my favorite superhero. But actually, when I went back and I bought, like, the whole run, you know, that Volume 2 of Wolverine, issue 1 to whatever it goes to. When I read those issues back, I actually really did like them. It was a nice change, but I was much older and wiser when I read those issues. So these are the main issues. These are most of them. There's probably some others that maybe I forgot, but when I think back to, I don't know, when I'm thinking about comic books and, you know, thinking about covers that really blew me away, you know, or the storylines and that, this is it. So the game that we're going to play is Batman on the NES. Now, as a kid, it was my impression that this was my first superhero video game that I played, which is not true. You know, when I got my Nintendo, I got Mario Brothers and TMNT, but like I said, I didn't view the Turtles as superheroes. They were just mutated turtles, and they were a part of a toy line. You know, to me, superheroes came from Marvel and DC, and that was it, you know, and they had an alter ego and a superhero code name, and so to me, this was the first superhero game that I played. But this is a game we're going to play today, so let's check out Batman on the Nintendo. Alright guys, we are playing Batman for the Nintendo. The first time I played this game was at a neighbor's house. He lived across the street. His name was Robbie. I wasn't friends with him for very long because our family ended up moving away. And I don't remember if he owned this or had rented it. Oh, got lucky, 2 hearts. Seems like I can never get hearts in this game when I want it. I can remember him telling me that he's like, hey, I got Batman, and I'm like, I need to come over right now and play Batman. Like, I want to play this game. I had a subscription to Nintendo Power, so I'd probably already seen screenshots of it, and I liked Batman at the time too. They were replaying the Adam West 1966 Batman TV show on television, so I would come home and watch that after school every single day, which really was like my first real digestion of like Batman media, because I don't remember when I saw the movie. We did not see it in theaters. I had seen the comic books and I watched the Adam West TV show, and then I got to play this. So I'm totally messed that up. And so I went over to Robbie's house. He had his NES set up in his bedroom and we played Batman. This game is really, really cool. It's a Sunsoft game, so it's got great music, and one of the main mechanics in this game is jumping. Like you saw back there, I wall jump. But the jump, you can tap the button and you can just do like a little partial jump, or you can push it down, you know, harder and do a full jump. And that really comes into play during the wall jump segments, which you'll see here in a little bit. But the jumping in this game just feels fantastic, which it has to with the wall jumping sections. So if you press the start button, you can switch to weapons. So I've got 99 ammo of batarangs. That is ammo pickup. And a heart refills 1 bar of health. And the B is bonus points. I don't believe points get you anything in the game. I don't think you earn free lives with them or anything like that. But this game like loosely follows the movie. In fact, the bosses in this game, I don't even know who some of them are. But they're definitely not from the movie, I can tell you that. Like, come down here, there's not really any ninjas in the Batman movie. Regardless, this game is really fun to play. So here's the first boss. I don't know who this is. I'm gonna guess it's Firefly. But if you hide here in the corner, and then when he comes down, you jump up and you use this, I don't know what this weapon is, this saw blade looking thing. It uses 3 ammo every single time you use it, but you can get 2 hits on him. These cutscenes are pretty cool, and like the machine guns pop up here. When I saw that in the Batman movie, I'm like, oh my god, the Batmobile has machine guns? Because the only Batmobile I had seen up to this point, really, was the Adam West Batmobile, which there was certainly no guns on that thing. Like, I knew of the Batman comic book, but I really wasn't reading it, and so I couldn't even tell you what the Batmobile looked like in the Batman comic book from the 80s. So now we're down in the sewer. Well, actually, this probably isn't the sewer. This is I don't know. This would be Ace Chemicals. So here's a little shortcut if I can do this right. Yeah, you can wall jump there because you're supposed to go all the way to the right, and you can do that little shortcut. I'm just gonna use a battering to take him out. Oh. I'll use a battering on this guy too. I primarily like to punch guys, so you'll notice that when I, use whatever weapon I was using, I typically will switch back to just the punch. Because the punches are pretty strong in this game. It's like you can't just sit there and button mash like when an enemy's running to you, because the timing can be off and they can hit you. Now this is a trickier jump where we're going to have to wall jump off these platforms, and I probably won't do this right. Sure didn't even manage to wall jump it. And we've seen these mines already, but there's these mines down here. When you get close, they will come after you and blow up. See, I guess this must be Ace Chemicals. Like I said, like really, the Game Boy Batman game actually I think follows the movie quite a bit closer, and it's not exact either. Yeah, we would have just entered Ace Chemicals, I guess, because he shot through the door just like he did in the movie. Jump there. See, like right here, you can't do a full jump. You just got to do like a little baby jump. I screwed that up. I should have switched back over to punching. Wow, I am really screwing this up. There is parts in this game where you can grind for health, so I might do that. Now see, like right here, we have to make sure we do the right type of jumps because those gaps are spaced differently apart, and then they put those electrical coils in there that you will take damage from. So I just kind of do a little baby jump, and I do a big jump to get up there, take this guy out. These are both big jumps. Oh. Big jump to get up there. Here's another part where you have to drop down and wall jump. We'll see if I can... Wow. And this part right here, so you can go off that and you can do like a baby jump, get up there and do another baby jump, but you can't go... Okay, so I actually did that right. Alright, let's see if I can actually... Yeah, see, if you do it wrong, you're going to hit that. And these are tricky. You can also go here and just do this. Only got 2 hit points left. Ooh. Oh, jeez. So actually coming up here is a part where we can grind out health. This thing drops bombs. I'm probably gonna get killed here. I'd like to see if it would drop a health icon so I can at least have a little bit of wiggle room here. Screw it. Huh, I was expecting that little car thing to go nuts and come after me. Drop down here, now I've got conveyor belts. Full on ammo. I probably should take this thing out now. When you get down here, this thing will start dropping bombs, but I usually just run to the edge of this, and then, yeah, and then screw that up. There's two ways to go here. There's a more difficult way if you stay on top. And it's not overly difficult, there's just one of those bomb dropping things. Or you can go down this, oh jeez, you can go down this other way. And it's a little bit easier. So this part is hard. You have to like wall jump off the end of this thing. There we go. Oh hell. Dang it. Alright, well I'm at the grind for health. So here's where you can respawn enemies back in. Hopefully one of them drops health somewhat quickly. This is one of the most tedious parts of the game, is just grinding for this health. And I'll edit all this out so you guys don't have to see it. You do gotta be careful when you're grinding out for health too, because you can still take damage. Okay, so this is the boss. I take out these guns. And we come up here, and you can stand on this. I messed that up. So you can jump up there and knock it, hit by the electrical coil. And then you shoot this thing. Oh boy. And this is what I do. I get up here, I kneel down. This is pretty tight. You have to watch this. If you get in a little bit too close, you'll hit that thing and you'll take damage, but you can sit there and just punch it. Okay, the sewers level has these really annoying guys that jump. And so you'll get him on screen. See, there's like one of them right there. If I get closer, he's gonna start jumping towards me. And I think 5 of these rockets takes him out. These guys are annoying as hell. And there's a bunch of them. Well, I'm not doing too hot. So if you can take them out from a distance, that works good. There's environmental hazards like these spinny water things. This water looks fantastic. Like the water and the fan that's down there, and you can see like the water like getting sucked into it. Like the graphics in this game are really, really good. Whoops. Beautiful looking game. Nice hearts. Oh boy, here's another one of these guys. Let's see. Got him. Screwed that up. Oh man. Well, this didn't work out. Yeah, so they'll chase you. I hate those things. I just... Oh boy. Alright, well... Be nice if I could... Ooh. Yeah, get rid of these things. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Oh, jeez. Just get out of here. And watch out for this fan thing. Most of the time I forget. I'm just jumping along and I jump right into it. There's fans in the water down there, so you gotta make sure to hug that wall to the right. Oh, nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, great. Alright, ammo. Sweet. Nice. Going well. I think there's a bomb thing over there left that you can use to grind out health and ammo. I'm just gonna skip it. And we'll just wall jump our way up here. Alright, this is the cavern level. This is usually where I meet my demise and can no longer progress through this game. Mainly because of these guys. I hate those things. There's a couple of them here. One over here. Oh, great, he already saw me. I really hate these guys. Oh, there's ammo. Oh, nice. Despawned. Thank you, game. Sometimes I can land on that and jump right, but most of the time I can't, so coming up here, there's that little car guy you can see, and then there's one of these bomb droppy things that I could, you know, harvest health off of, but I think I'm just gonna skip it. We're just gonna go up here. See if I can get through this. Punch. Oh, he gave me a heart. Awesome. Dang it. Huh, I'm pretty sure I touched that thing, but it didn't register a hit. Whew, man. Health would be really awesome right now. Probably supposed to use those platforms up there, but we'll just do this. Hey, look at that, I actually beat it. Wow. Alright. This is uncharted territory, guys. Oh, great. Oh. I can see my demise coming shortly. I'm gonna battering him. Oh boy. I can't even begin to explain how much I hate these guys. Oh crap. Let's just get out of here. Oh boy, yeah. Sorry guys, I know I'm not talking that much. I've just never been to this part of the game before. Let's see. Oh no, give me that. Oh. Yeah, I can't even tell you how many stages are in this game because I never get past the caverns. Oh, jeez. I'm assuming that if I touch those gears, it injures me. Yeah. Alright, we'll give it another try here. This has got to be close to my last guy. How am I supposed to get past this? Do I jump? Oh, crap. Huh. Wow. This... place is a total hazard. Alright. That's not good. Dang. Well, guys, that was a pretty good run. I've never been this far in Batman. Hopefully you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you next time.